Hello everyone and welcome to Auxilium, a new venture started by my colleague Anine Brits here at Dariel. Auxilium is Latin for help, and it's our attempt to try and give you a little bit more information about recruitment in South Africa from a non-IT perspective. But funnily enough, our first episode is definitely going to be on IT, just in a different geographical area. Dariel is a Johannesburg-based business, and we have the absolute pleasure today to welcome Sam Harper, one of my favorite Cape Town-based recruiters, and one of the most vocal and altruistic and all-round nice human beings in the recruitment space in Cape Town. So without any further ado, I'd like to give Sam a chance to introduce herself and maybe give us a little bit of information about what she's doing at the moment. Sam, welcome.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I must say it's a little bit awkward speaking about myself, but I will do my best. I'm more vocal on speaking about others,
yeah,
for sure. Yes, I've been in the tech recruitment space for 15 years. And yeah, so I recruit from call center upwards to project management, not necessarily the software developers. As most will know, I am a huge advocate for mental health, and what I feel like it is definitely standing out now during COVID. So I think the advocacy for that has been advantageous now during this time and helping candidates. And then at the same time, I also run an NGO called Soul Donations. As most know, because people can't work, there are many families without food or without any support. So I specifically work in the Lavender Hills area, and we do food parcels. We literally collect everything. And then at noon, we have a creche that we're supporting as well. She's converted a creche into a soup kitchen, but they also lack toys and clothes. So we literally pass on everything that is donated to the two sectors.
Sure.
So those are the three things that I'm currently focusing on. Yeah, let's begin and see how we can help people, for sure.
That's amazing, actually. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're super, super busy, Sam. So what I wanted to perhaps discuss as a starting point is, obviously, we've entered this really crazy, uncertain time in our history. How has COVID and the lockdown impacted your side of recruitment?
So recruitment in general, the recruiters are battling, and I foresee that a lot of recruiters won't make it through, obviously because jobs have stopped, and that's the work that we have to do. I know a lot of people, including myself, have tried to diversify our skills. But again, companies are holding tight to their budgets. I mean, we don't know when it's going to end. So from a recruiter's perspective, I mean, it's not only affecting all industries. I have a lot of empathy for recruiters as a whole, just because I think it's quite a battle.
Absolutely.
Cape Town is extremely quiet. From the sounds of it, Joburg's moving more. I mean, I get the feel that more have been retrenched in Cape Town. I think we've got smaller companies. I think our startup hubs are bigger here, and these are the companies that have been affected the most.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how it compares to your side, but people are really bad.
Sure.
Yeah, I think overall it's in the recruitment space, the outlook is a little bit tough at the moment. I think for both internal and for external recruiters, the external recruiters obviously probably feeling a bit more because they don't have the buffer of the, I don't know, the you know, you need to place to make money in an agency. Luckily, the internal recruiters can still earn salaries. So yeah, my heart goes out to them. It's always risky to stop recruitment as a business. Not only it takes a long while to get those engines started again, but the talent market, the people who make up the jobs that you're filling are still looking. So if there are any businesses that have halted their recruitment, I'd advise you to hit start as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in terms of, you know, things starting up a little bit as well, what sort of roles have you seen an uptake in the Cape Town environment?
Support.
Okay.
So, like your payment portals are used extensively now because people aren't going out.
Yeah.
And those companies didn't necessarily have to have as much intense support as they do now. So the lower level caliber or skills, I could say, are in greater need. But it is difficult because people also don't have the time to train. So they need people to come in and do the work and not necessarily have the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I have found there are a few, not many, companies who are looking to the future. So we're working on roles at the moment that they want people to start August, later in the year, to prep for 2021.
Okay.
But there aren't many, and again, it's cash flow. People are hanging tight onto their cash.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously with this, we're still getting all the candidates coming to us. We still have people coming to ask for help and advice. And it's no secret that this is quite mentally taxing. Peter, you always say job hunting is a full-time job. And I think now more than ever, it's quite a stressful process to go through. How do you manage from a mental health perspective when someone approaches you, Sam? How do you deal with that?
With loads of empathy. I've had many wives contact me to say, please, can you phone my husband? And I don't want to generalize, but I think men battle to ask for help. Men are the breadwinners. They need to look after their families, and they don't necessarily want to reach out. So I've had to speak to a lot of men and explain that it's not just them. And I think a lot of men feel that they boxed in and they're the only ones that can do it. So I think a lot of people just need someone to tell them that it's not just them. Like, it is okay. Yeah, just support from the outside. You know, if your wife or your partner is telling you, it's okay, it's fine, I'll handle it, you still have that feeling inside. And so, almost, I mean, I've spoken to quite a few people and they're like, Sam, I feel like you're my psychologist. Like, I just need to talk. I just need to express how I'm feeling. But I always end off saying to everyone, you know, there's a reason why we have psychologists. I'm happy to do the talk, but I honestly feel people have to have external help. I know my doctors are fully booked during this time. People aren't coping, and my message is always, it's okay to get help. You know, it's okay to be on an antidepressant to get yourself through these times. It's okay to get this. Yeah, so that's been my biggest thing. And of course, it's again not just men, it's across the board.
Yeah.
But it has, I mean, it is really tough and quite depressing.
Your heart
Sam,
sort of
I'd really
goes
like to
no, go
I'd
for
like
it,
to
Peter.
thank you for raising the issue of men asking for help, because I really think it's important. And without turning this into a men's health topic, you know, I'm very lucky that I have a specific WhatsApp group. These people aren't in Joburg, so I can't see them face to face. But that group has probably been the single biggest source of support beyond my immediate family in this time for my mental health as well. And it's because we check on each other. It's because there's none of that old school, unhealthy, toxic masculinity in that group. And the sooner I think a lot of men realize that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to have the feelings that were sometimes maybe denigrated, then the sooner we'll probably change the world for the better. But also, more of us will get through this. I personally have found myself in a number of troughs and waves of positivity and negativity. And I think it requires looking at your mental landscape quite seriously, internally, doing a lot of introspection, saying, how am I? And what can I do? Do I need external help? Can I do something myself? What are the patterns that are leading me to these thought patterns of negativity or positivity? And it's a lot of effort. So stat that to the people who are out there and struggling. You know, I'd recommend reaching out to the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. They are for free as well if you're worried about who to speak to. But do speak to people. So thanks, Sam, really, for bringing that up.
Absolutely. I think it's something that is very seldom spoken about, and is something that really needs to be spoken about. We need to realize that it's okay not to be okay, especially now. You don't have to be the hero all the time. And sometimes it helps to just have that independent third party to listen. So when we look at this from a employment perspective and, you know, what do we do in this situation? I do want to ask from your side, I know Peter and I are very vocal about the importance of having your online brand and being out there and engaging. How do you find the online space has helped you find candidates? What do you look for when you start looking at, especially these sort of more support roles and that sort of thing? You know, how important is it for people to be online and to have complete information, obviously within copy regulation and all of that, but, you know, putting their brand out there?
For customer support and the more junior levels, I don't think they understand the importance of their online branding. I've spoken to more than a handful of people who don't even have a LinkedIn profile. And I use LinkedIn as my biggest source of reaching out and contacting people. So there are many conversations of the importance of getting online and also asking for help. I've seen numerous posts on LinkedIn of people saying, like, I'm unemployed, these are my skills, can someone help me? And many people are tagged in and they are assisted because there are openings and there are spaces. So they're missing a huge market of recruiters looking for skills, but they don't know where to look and they don't know how to market themselves. And I think people also find it a little bit embarrassing to say I'm unemployed and to reach out for help, but it's never embarrassing. And it's always time, regardless of COVID or not. We should be asking each other. We all are in this together. It's not, tech isn't necessarily a specific market. And I think that also a lot of people tend to use or think that LinkedIn is a tech industry. But you could be in call center, you could be in retail, you could be in any job, manufacturing, and get onto LinkedIn and promote yourself. So that's the first thing that I do advise. But and CVs aren't written well, we know that. CV, no one is taught that. So on my perspective, I pick up the phone. I found that there is definitely a magic connection in speaking to someone. And regardless of what their CV looks like, I do spend time talking to people. And whether I can help them, Anil, I know you did. When you can't help someone, you refer them to me. We've got a really good network, the South African Recruitment Network, where there's like over 400 recruiters, where we can, recommend someone in their space. But it's only when you talk to someone, because you know what their skills are, you can promote their personality. So I think talking also about promoting and how to do your CV and how to come across is really important. When we recruit for customer support, so many times someone will just send a CV. There's no content in the actual email. And I've, not just myself, I know recruiters tend to brush it off and think, oh, they're not professional, this isn't a good candidate, but they just don't know. People don't know that, and not necessarily a cover letter, but to introduce yourself and highlight what your skills are. So that's, I mean, there's many points that we can deal with, but that I find is quite a big issue with call center and support staff.
Yeah.
And Sam, I'm sure you get multiple applicants for those openings. So if you are someone who wants to apply for one of those roles, it stands you in good stead to have something that is complete, number one. But if something also stands out a little bit, you've only got so many hours in the day. You can only make so many calls, so many connections before you find the right person. If you are just if your CV as a candidate is just coming in the noise, it's, even if you are the best, you've put yourself on the back foot.
Yeah, 100%. And it's small things as far as your grammar and spelling. And we have Grammarly, it's free. So I think just that extra effort in your CV, it doesn't have to be in a specific format. But I also find when I'm reading a CV and there's huge grammar issues, like I tend to hesitate, because support staff have to email clients, you have to communicate, and it is small little things that do make a difference. But again, I think it's about educating. No one teaches you how to do a CV. No one expresses the importance of checking your grammar or putting content in the email. So I think absolutely. a lot of good candidates are certainly must.
Absolutely. I think it also, for me, it sometimes is a thing of, putting in that little bit of care to make sure that I'm highlighting myself in a way that is showing my actual skills. It really helps to be able to communicate, what do I do? And as part of the screening process, you sort of want your candidate to also be, even if they're not the most experienced, to be able to tell you about what they've done. And your CV as a starting point to that is to sort of just share their experience. It is very much my belief that a recruiter's job is not to judge you for your history. We are there to assess whether you can fit into a role. It's not personal, but I need to understand where you're coming from. And if you're telling me general information and you're not being very clear about what you can and can't do, it's really hard for both parties to figure out, is this an opportunity that makes sense for both of us? And there are so many cool tools nowadays where you can actually go through and make your CV quite comprehensive. It doesn't have to be something that is, following a certain format, but there are some really nice free tools as well out there. I mean, I love that you mentioned Grammarly. It's the friend to everybody. Everybody should use it. It definitely works. So just perhaps off of where you are at the moment, are there any projects that you're working on? Anything cool coming up in your space?
Again, customer support is huge. I've got plenty of clients asking for customer support, and it really is the hardest, which you would think developers would be the hardest now. With the customer support, a lot of them say, but they haven't got the certification or they don't have the knowledge. But there's also so many free tools on the internet, and there's so many free courses on the internet. So, for example, we've placed a few interns now, and there's one specific candidate who he did lack the skills and he didn't have the right certification. And he was older, so it wasn't as if, he worked for an NGO and he completely irrelevant. He then self-studied the work that he had to. He came into the office and he was so eager. He came in, he told them everything about their business, everything that he's learned himself. He told them about the courses that he's going to do. And he just had a good attitude, and they didn't even flinch to hire him. And I feel like it's such a small thing. I talk to people and I go, what do you want to do? I want to be in IT. Wow. I can't help you with that. Like, you need to know, what do you want to do in IT? And he was so specific. He knew exactly what field he wanted to do. He knew exactly what he had to study. So compared to other interns that had the certificates but wasn't really passionate and they were half-half, he blew my mind away. And I just feel like that's such an easy thing to portray. And I know people are depressed, and I know people are desperate, and I know, I mean, when you come across desperate clients are like, oh, like, why is he desperate? Why is he? And it's not fair, but unfortunately that is the way it works. So my biggest advice to interns and to customer support is to know if you're passionate about it. If not, go into another field, because there are many people looking for interns, especially now, which has been a big thing. I would have thought that the development space would have boomed, and there actually are a lot of developers out of work, and there are a lot of companies that don't have the budget for it, and it's not in demand, which completely blew me away because I thought it would be in demand. And I've also found, and this is a very big thing, the company, I wouldn't say a lot, but what's standing out now is a lot of companies are treating their staff really badly. And again, management and business owners are also feeling the pressure. They're just as panicked as we are, and they don't know how to deal with it. So I'm speaking to a lot of people who are like, it's unrealistic expectations. Our salaries dropped by 30%, but we need to work these long hours. We need to work. So at the same time, I'm trying to explain to candidates, like, you have empathy for your boss. They're just as panicked. They don't want their business to close. But at the same time, management need to wake up and be like, without them, you're going to close. So it's a complete 360 circle of how we all treating each other right now. I
think you make a very valid point about how we treat each other, Sam. That's probably going to be at least the short-term difference between successful and less successful businesses and people, in my view. Passion, as you mentioned, is infectious. I would much rather hire someone who's passionate, that has no skills, than someone who has 15 years of experience, says, this is the way I've always done it. I was trained this way, this is the process I follow. That passion and authenticity is almost, and you can vouch for this, you send a candidate who's passionate, they're likely to get the job. It's that simple. And then when it comes to businesses, those who are communicating authentically and are showing the human side of business, in my view, are going to be the ones who come out of this a lot more successful.
100%. Some of the companies that I've dealt with, their staff are battling with mental health. And instead of putting pressure on them to deliver, they've given them almost like family responsibility leave to deal with it. So not to put pressure and not to give warnings and they understand that they're all dealing with it. But on the flip side of the coin, I mean, there are businesses who are intolerable of mental health. They can't understand if they were delivering last year, why aren't they delivering now? Are they slacking? Can't they work from home? Do they need leadership? They're not thinking that this is an emotional time for everyone.
Yeah, my hope is that we do come out of this with a more empathetic business world or ecosystem. Those are going to be the successful businesses. I'm at diametric odds with one of my friends who works for a large consulting business. I'm yet to have that argument with him because he thinks teams that are high functioning can only be as high functioning as they are when they are working in the same space together, and I absolutely disagree with that. So we'll see how that goes.
It's been a very interesting chat. Thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate it. So from our side, really, thank you for the good work that you're doing. Thank you for being human and for highlighting all of these awesome points. If you want, I'm going to also plug a few of Sam's links at the bottom. So please do check out their nonprofit and check her out. She is completely worth your time. She is awesome. And thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate your time. You must have a good one and stay safe.
Absolutely, and thanks for including me. I really appreciate it. And I just want to end off with, and again, emphasizing that, and I know it's cliche, everyone's saying we're all in this together, but it is the truth. And there are people to speak to, and even if it is your recruiter, even if it is your HR or your best friend, Peter, I love the idea of your WhatsApp support group. And I think people just need to hush a little bit on their ego and just know that these are unprecedented times. We've never experienced something like this, and it is okay to not be okay.